Golden Trophy was an amazing quest that I loved to play. You can imagine my shock when I found out it had a sequel. Curse of the Crimson Cauldron is more medieval goblin hunting, but with some new additions and concepts. In this video, I'll be talking about what makes Crimson such a good sequel. We are almost at 900 subscribers. The goal is 1k by the end of the year, so sub onto the video. Alright, let's talk about what they added. In between Golden Trophy and Crimson, Rec Room made Jumbotron. So they learnt a lot about making quests, so that allowed them to make an absolute banger. Added were double damage potions, which do exactly what they sound like, magic wands that have a timed fuse and are incredibly easy to friendly fire with due to their spread. A new type of crossbow called the Hunter Crossbow. It's very similar to the flintlock in terms of firing, where you pull back the slide and fire one shot. There are new enemies too, the spear goblin with a shield that you have to try to aim around, the cannon goblin that is extremely annoying, this witch enemy which you have to hit their projectiles back, and the mini boss, the bog monster. He can be a pain with his exploding projectiles. Most things from Golden Trophy are returning, like all the enemies and weapons, but the scenes are completely different and a lot more immersive. Everything is more organic and realistic. The mine levels look amazing with the glowing gems and this lava pit making everything orange. Everything as a whole looks leagues better than in Golden, and truly feels like the next Golden Trophy. It's a lot harder too. I usually solo these quests for my footage, but I tried for hours and kept dying, so I only have footage up until the bog, so I had to play in multiplayer for the rest. Shout out to Queer45 for helping me record. But I have soloed it before with proof. Not only is it more difficult, but it takes longer too. Runs can take 30 minutes due to just how many enemies are present. There's a massive difficulty spike in the second level. This is the type of difficulty as some of the last Golden Trophy levels. There are enemies constantly spawning all around you and it can easily overwhelm you if you don't know where the safe spots are. Crimson really is just Golden Trophy but bigger and better. So why would you ever want to go back? Well, for one, I don't want to rip out my hair and tear my skin off because damn, this game loves spawning enemies behind you. There have been more times that I can count where an enemy just spawns right on top of me, especially in the bog. I've memorized every enemy spawn but still find a way to die here. Golden Trophy just isn't as frustrating, and after playing through the quests that do have checkpoints, I feel like the old ones desperately need them. Nothing is more frustrating than dying far into a run just to start up back at the first level. But I guess that's just part of being a solo player. Another great addition is the mini boss. When you finish the bog level, it tells you that there are still enemies, and you see it bubbling in the pool. Then this massive green bog monster attacks you. He shoots projectiles with a lethal splash damage. He isn't too hard and definitely amazing to have in the quest. My personal favorite levels in Crimson are definitely the two mine levels. They're the most intense and look the best in my opinion. The colorful gems look great, the steam that you must dodge is fun, and this lava room looks amazing. It's extremely difficult. Right here we see the first enemies of the level in this enclosed steam room. They really don't pull their punches here. The final wave is absolutely brutal with cannon goblins at the top and countless flyers and elites running at you. This is some Golden Trophy final level type difficulty, but we still have more game left. The witch enemy is a breath of fresh air when spamming the bow all the time. It can only be killed with a sword by countering their projectiles back at them. The final boss plays off this gimmick and makes it more interesting and difficult with the shot being rebounded back at you or other players. It can be interesting when they mix in witches with normal shooters. The barrage of fireballs is extremely overwhelming and makes for amazing gameplay. Just like Golden Trophy, each level has its own gimmick. The first level is the introduction with two different parts.
Did you know
in Crimson Cauldron, in the first act, there is a sword in the stone. This is a reference to Arthur and the sword in the stone. The second level has waves of imps in the hunter camp. There are a bunch of cool details here, like the goblins being beheaded and placed on the ends of their swords. It just shows off whoever lives in this cabin as absolutely brutal. The third level is at the goblin camp, this absolute banger playing. It's one wide open map with tons of enemies spawning in. It's a great level with an amazing atmosphere. The ham sword is here, which is iconic. The next level has the before mentioned witch enemies. They make the level more enjoyable with their satisfying combat. The bog is next, which I've already said a lot about. There are these rafts that you have to place over the water to cross gaps, which stand out to me as a cool moment, and smashing all these pots will never not be fun. The green shade on everything makes the level stand out from the rest. I had to say it again, but the mines look amazing. The steam that can come out of nowhere if you aren't careful raises the stakes of the combat. Overlooking all the enemies you need to take on in the second mine level can be daunting. And when you do come down, it can be some of the most stressful moments in Crimson. The bell tower is also a spectacle and it can be stunning to look up. This level is a sigh of relief as you know the end is drawing near. And the enemies here are easier to deal with due to the exploding barrels. It can be incredibly fun to have one person tackle the goblins above and the other does the goblins underneath. This quest requires more teamwork due to its challenge and is hard to do alone. The witch fight is nothing crazy. The hardest part is juggling all of the enemies it spawns. It shoots witch energy balls that need to be countered with swords. 3 hits and it dies. I'll admit, during the last 2 waves of enemies it can get really hectic. The accomplishment of making it is well worth the struggle. Chilling in the Cauldron is something I always do when I get the opportunity. So why is Crimson Cauldron so overlooked? I believe that it's in Golden Trophy's shadow, as it's the only sequel quest. If anyone wants some goblin killing action with bows, swords and shields, they load up Golden Trophy. Golden is just so much easier. It can be a lot less frustrating, and you can just coast through the whole thing in a few minutes without really thinking. Most casual Rec Room players think that Golden is already too hard, so why would they want to try a version of it that's like 3 times as hard? Crimson Cauldron is such a perfect sequel, as it expands upon what made Golden so good and has stunning and extremely varying environments. It has the same basic enemies with a few new additions that spice up the formula. The new weapons and double damage mechanic greatly improves the combat and gives the player more choices. If you enjoyed Golden Trophy and want more, there is no better option than Crimson. It's an absolute masterpiece and some of Rec Room's finest work. And while we wait in vain for a new quest, I'm desperate for a Wild West one. I mean, the revolvers are already in the game. But while we wait, I say give Crimson another shot. Alright, that's the video. I would have liked to make it a little bit longer, but most points have already been stated in my Golden Trophy video. So if you want more of my content, check that one out. And also my Crescendo video. Next time we'll cover my new personal favorite quest, Isle of the Lost Skulls. I'm really excited to check that one out, as I think it is peak Rec Room, not even close. If you made it to the end, I just want to say thank you, goodbye.